Welcome back, everyone. Let us move on to the final session of the day in a very interesting one, I would say, entitled How Do I Choose the Right Digital Skills and Digital Courses for Me and My Employees? Moderating this session is Allan, Head of Strategy and Advocacy, Digital Skills and Jobs Division of Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation, MDEC. His current portfolio involves overseeing strategic engagements with relevant government stakeholders, industry partners, and university. He also advocates the development of talent frameworks and monitors tech talent trends to support policies and programs related to continuous talent development solutions for the digital industry. With that, I pass over to you, Allan.
Thanks, Asrul. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone feeling today? My name is Allan from MDEC, and really, I'm just feeling totally excited right now. Because we are right in the middle of My Digital Workforce Week, and that is the third week of Malaysia Tech Month 2021. This evening, I'll be moderating a very special panel session indeed. If you are a fresh graduate, a job seeker, a working professional, wanting to upskill themselves, or even just about anyone at all thinking about digital skills training, what kind of trainings do I go for? This is a panel that is for you. Because the topic of this session today is how do I choose the right digital skills and digital courses for me or my employees? Spoiler alert, yeah. MDEC's answer to that would be, of course, our digital skills training directory. And we have with us today 3 experts that will share their insights about the directory with all of us this evening. They are from 3 very established training solution providers who are currently offering some of these training courses on the directory itself. But before we get to know the panelists, please allow me some time to briefly share about what the Digital Skills Training Directory is. Probably you have some slides. I can just flash that. Yeah, this is the link to the directory. So if you have not checked it out, you can check out the directory from there. You can even just scan the QR code on the screen, right? Right. For many of us, when we go into a restaurant or a cafe, more often than not, we would tend to request to see the menu to show us what is available and to guide us what food to order, right? Sometimes it is very difficult to choose when the array of food of choices are just so wide. And likewise, in today's digital age, it has become increasingly challenging to choose what type of digital training courses is suitable or relevant. And it's like every other week, there will be some new digital skills that will be added to learn. And that is primarily the reason why MDEC chose to develop the Digital Skills Training Directory, a menu that catalogs training courses that addresses in-demand digital skills. Now, we do not simply just consolidate all training courses into one platform. Rather, we also ensure that the directory will only list quality and in-demand digital tech training courses that have been validated against the Digital Industry Skills Framework that is jointly developed with HLD Corp and PICOM and verified by digital industry experts. In short, the Digital Skills Training Directory is an essential guide for all Malaysians in their digital upskilling journey. Now, if it was a restaurant, you can be assured that the menu that we provide will only list down the food that have been verified to be tasty. Now, who wouldn't want to dine in that kind of restaurant, right? So we started with a listing of 180 courses back in 2020, and today we are pleased to inform that we have refreshed and expanded the directory to contain more than 250 courses covering areas like data science, cybersecurity, software development, games, animation, digital GBS, and fintech. Training courses listed on the directory can be funded under the My Digital Workforce Work in Tech or MyWIT initiative, which is a training and hiring incentive program aimed at developing quality tech talents, as well as boosting the digital GBS sector. Apart from that, MDEC also works very closely with other related government agencies in the development of the directory. For example, the directory is also recognized by SOCSO and will fund up to 4,000 ringgit per person for selected courses pursued by EIS members receiving unemployment benefits. Next, some courses offered by HLDC approved training providers can also be funded using HLDC levies. In addition, selected courses on the directory offering certifications are also eligible for funding up to 7,000 ringgit under the Penjana 2.0 hiring incentive, max at 4,000 for apprentice categories. So yes, many funding incentives available to you to take up courses listed on the directory. So coming back to the restaurant analogy, it's like we are not even just listing down the courses on the menu, we are giving out vouchers for customers to come in and eat our food, right? Isn't that fantastic? And right now, we have 3 categories of courses that are listed on the directory itself. One, work and learn. Secondly is career upgrade. And third is learning on demand. For work and learn courses, these are mostly short courses that will help the existing workforce to remain relevant and competitive in the job market. They are typically pursued as part-time courses, and there are 6 focus areas under work and learn, which are data science, cybersecurity, software development, animation, games development, and digital GBS. Secondly, for the career upgrade programs, these are more the longer-term courses that facilitates a career change or upgrade. They consist of more in-depth courses that includes substantial project-based learning. And these are usually taken as full-time courses. There are 3 focus areas today: data science, cybersecurity, and software development. Learning on demand is the third one. This is the latest addition to the directory, and it comprises a list of 9 massive open online courses or MOOCs, platform partners for people to learn anytime, anywhere. Now that's the trend these days. People just learn anytime, anywhere. And this is our learning on demand courses. There are 9 partners, which are the Center of Finance, Technology, and Entrepreneurship, CFTE, Open Learning Global, LinkedIn Learning, EC Council, Code Red, Leadernomics Digital, 360 DGTMG, Academy GA, SAS Institute, and LTT Global Communications. So again, if you have not done so, do check out the Digital Skills Training Directory today. Okay, the link is there on the screen. You can just scan the QR code and check it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, enough of me talking already. Without further ado, let's get straight to the panel session for this evening. How do I choose the right digital skills and digital courses for me or my employees? Now, a truly difficult question indeed. Thankfully, this evening, we have 3 distinguished panel members to help us tackle that question. Firstly, we have Mr. Aaron Tan, Chief Architect of ATD Solutions, Mr. Howie Chang, Founder and CEO of Forward School, and Dr. Yap Chee Seng, Managing Director of Iverson. Gentlemen, welcome to the panel session.
Yes, welcome. Thank you.
Now, gentlemen, honestly speaking, when I read your profiles, I was sincerely awestruck by all your wealth of experience, achievements, and accolades. This session cannot deserve better panelists than all of you. So instead of me simply reading out all your profiles, let's get all of you to tell us more about yourselves. Okay, gentlemen, let's begin by introducing yourselves to the audience by telling us 3 things. 1, a little bit about your background. Secondly, the company you represent. And thirdly, what courses do you currently offer on the Digital Skills Training Directory? Let's start with you, Aaron.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for MDEC for inviting me into this afternoon session. And just a little bit background of myself. I think I grew up in the software development environment. So about spending almost 25 years and more. So I was a so-called hardcore developer in the early days. Then after that, move up into the so-called senior management. That's where I get to realize that actually technical skill is one of the factor requirement, but actually they got another aspect, which is to understand business, to manage the stakeholders, and etc. And somehow the requirement also keep changing because our business is dynamic, is alive. That's where I think we got stuck when we have the software suddenly that we need to keep changing. That's where I think accidentally or incidentally, when I moved job, the company in the past give me the title of architects. That's where I understand why the importance of architecture. Because in the past is that to me during my early days is that I can write the software, it's running, right? So what? But after that, how can we adapt into the environment, into what the user, the business wanted to change? That's where the architecture playing a critical role. That's why I think in the last 15 years, right, halfway throughout my career, I'm focusing a lot on the architecture. And of course, now I think become critical because I think we are moving into the digital world. So if you don't have architecture, I think it's very, very challenging to survive. You can launch the product, but the product just can't evolve, can't adapt, right? So that's in short. Then the next one, the second one is on my company. So actually we founded the company FTD. So we are focusing initially on the so-called training services. So we brought in a lot of the international certification in the architecture. I think now we are offering two of the world best, which is from ISA and the Open Group. And I think the demand, because of the last, not only pandemic, in the last 5 to 10 years has been exponential. Because industry start realizing that now I need to build a digital platform. I need to move towards digital. What is the framework, right? We cannot bring forward what we used to do in our software development, and we just label the project become digital project. Why? Because otherwise my boss will not approve the project. But you can't do that. So we really need to put digital into the core, right? So how do we architect the enterprise? Because technology will fit nicely into the business. So that's why I think the trainings that we offer, I think in the all complete listing under the MDEC digital program, digital skill program. So we have a comprehensive, I think I will tell more in the next so-called Q&A, right? I think over to you, Allan.
Thanks, everyone. So it's good to have an architect in the house.
Yes.
Howie, how about you?
Yeah, thanks, Allan, and also thanks to MDEC for inviting me to this panel. So my background is that I am born and bred in Penang, Malaysia, but I left Penang after my Form 5 studies, and I technically built my entire career in Singapore for the last 18 years before returning back to Penang around 5 years ago. And right now, and in terms of my background, I have a technical training background, specifically in software engineering, applications development, UI UX design, as well as digital product management. And my background has always been in the tech startups or a tech company. And when I'm back in Penang, I founded Forward School. That's the organization that I'm representing today. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Forward School. So here at Forward School, we are, trying to make quality digital age education accessible to everyone, everywhere. But ultimately, our goal is to really provide, right, the best digital age education in Southeast Asia. And being the best means that, we strive to help every student become a better version of themselves for a future we believe that will be made by creators, not just consumers. So when it comes to training, especially in the tech industry, I'm very passionate. And for us here at Forward School, we are proud partners with MDEC, specifically in the work and learn, and as well as the career upgrade categories of this entire initiative. Over to you, Allan.
Thanks, Howie, and thanks for coming back to Malaysia. Dr. Yap, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Allan. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm not a medical doctor, even though they call me doctor, right? I'm a Malaysian. I started out as an engineer. And then I did my PhD in information system at University of Cambridge. So after that, I started my career as a professor at National University of Singapore. I was there for 10 years, including 1 year in Hong Kong. And after that, when Tun Mahathir started MSc, I came back in 1997 to be one of the pioneers at MDEC. At that time was MDC. So I spent 5 years at MDEC, and I overlapped with Allan as well. So Allan has been there for a long time. Yeah. So when I was at MDEC, I was in charge of the research grants. Okay. After that, in 2004, I took over Iverson Associates, which is a IT training company. Okay. At that time, Iverson was going bankrupt. Luckily, through a lot of hard work and with a team of good staff, we turned it around and have been growing the company until today. Today, we have over 50 full-time staff. Okay, full-time staff as a training company is very big. In fact, in this space, I think we are the largest in Malaysia, just doing professional IT training. So we are the authorized training provider by Microsoft, Red Hat, IBM, AWS, almost you name it, we are authorized by all these IT vendors. We train about 10,000 people per year, okay? Sometimes more, sometimes less. So it's quite a big group of people that we train. We also have a subsidiary in Bangkok, in Thailand. So we have been working with MDEC all these years, playing a role to provide training under different programs. So currently in the directory, we have 27 courses listed in 3 focus areas, in software development, in cybersecurity, and also in data science. Okay, so I think there's a very brief introduction of myself and the company. The company, of course, has been winning lots of awards, because we are the largest, not only because of our size, but because of the work we do. So we have been awarded as a training partner by Microsoft, by Red Hat, by IBM, Cloudera, and all this. Sometimes not only for Malaysia, but for ASEAN or even for Asia Pacific. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yap. Wonderful. So we have an architect, an innovator, and a doctor when walking into the bar. Okay, no. Thanks for sharing and introducing yourselves. For those of you who just joined us this evening, we are talking about how do I choose the right digital skills and digital courses for me and my employees. And our panel for this evening are Aaron, Chief Architect of ATD Solutions, Sir Howie, CEO of Forward School, and Dr. Yap, Managing Director of Iverson, all of whom are offering some of their training courses on the Digital Skills Training Directory. Okay, Aaron, can you share with us what are some of the courses that you guys have currently listed on the directory?
Okay, I think we have a complete list of all the necessary paths to become architects. Okay, so just namely, the first one is what we call it business architect. So business architect actually is someone who, who troubleshoot the business and also who align the technology to the business. So that one, we have a complete path under the directory MDEC digital skill listing. So that one is basically is that there are a few courses to get into the business architect. So let me just namely the first one, which is the business architecture fundamental. So in the business architecture fundamental, in short, we call it BITA, right? So that one is where the business and IT need to do alignment. Because sometimes when they embark into the project, I think there's a famous, in the couple, there are quite a number of famous cartoons that illustrate that, what you see is not what other people see, especially business and IT, right? So business people expectation is that, hey, I'm putting 5 million into this project, right? So I expect if 5 million, you put it in the house, in Damansara will be super bungalow, right? But the reality when they collect the key, only simple like that. So, and this is expectation on the business people when they put and embark into the IT project. Then for the IT people said, hey, business should know what they want. But how come every time when we go into the meeting, they keep changing requirement? And now we are in the middle of the halfway finalizing the design. And this business keep changing and they cannot make up their mind. So we have to decide ourselves. So I mean, this is so-called the common term. That's why the first fundamental courses actually is quite popular. It is what called just now, it is the 3 days. So how to get alignment and, like the driving, right? The wheel need to be aligned after some time because you hit the pedal and etc. Right? The same thing when you embark into particular project. So you need to be aligned in terms of, harmonizing the frequency, the expectation, the requirement and etc. So that's in short on the first one. Then the second level actually is more on the journey, right? So typically when you embark into a particular project, you need to know about managing stakeholders. So the first one is basically understanding business and IT, right? The second one is managing the stakeholders because why? Stakeholder is the one that putting the money. And sometimes when we go into the typical IT project, we don't have access to the stakeholders because why? We only talk to the user. And the user is actually in terms of the management middle or below, right? So we're capturing the requirement at the level, but we never capture at the top. This is where, architecture core teaching us, basically, we need to capture the top level. What are their concerns? What make them cannot sleep at night? Why they wanted to do this project? So we need to know that reasoning, right? Then from there, we also need to make sure that the delivery is smooth. That's why we need to come up with the framework, right? So the framework basically guiding us as a guiding principle, how we can execute end to end. So that if any changes from the strategy the stakeholders make, how can we trace it into the source code? So that is the second part, right? So once they call it architecture core. So architecture core is basically teaching you that. Then after you finish the architecture core, then you need to move out to the next level, which is the framework. So framework basically said, okay, I understood about the complexity, and it seems like I need to have a framework. That's where the framework like TOGAF helping us to govern the whole life cycle, because all this transformation is the journey. It's not a one-time off, right? So if one-time off, then you forget about framework. Just do it one time and then do it. But as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, is that business keep changing, technology keep changing, keep refresh, right? They got new version, new platform, and then they got so-called, of course, all the emerging technology. So how can we incorporate that so that it can bring maximum value to the business? That's why the framework addressing that. Then once you understand the framework, then you need to understand also about the notation, the language. Interestingly, now I think in terms of the transformation, the digital transformation, we have the language called Archimate. Okay, not sure how many of you understand about Archi. Basically, the Archimate, right? The two words, right? The Archi is architecture. Mate, like mate is the friend, right? So architecture friend. So this is where the language to address both business and IT and the stakeholders to communicate in terms of what they intend, right? And how can they understand at the same level? This is actually in the past, without the Archimate, it's $1 million agreement, right? I can talk to you. Do you understand, Allan? Yes, I understand. Oh, you know the head. After 1 week we meet, we can quarrel. Hey, I thought you know the head. You sign off. Then, hey, I thought Aaron, you tell me this. So many confusion. That's why we have the language called Archimate. Then after that, of course, once you finish that one, they got the so-called the second last courses, which is what they call it business technology strategy. I mean, in the today context, we call it digital strategy. So how can now we understand or develop a digital strategy that can connect business strategy and the IT strategy? Because traditionally, business strategy developed by the business people, right? So they develop something, normally it's very, very high level and also very, very futuristic, right? Visionaries, very, very so-called, it's like helicopter is at 10,000 feet, whereby the so-called IT strategy more on the ground. So BTS actually business technology strategy is bridging that. So you need to cross-validate, right? What's business trying to do in the strategy? Can that be delivered by IT? The same thing, the IT want to deliver something, can that align to the business, right? Then after that, we go into the specialization. I think just now I mentioned about business architecture specialization, information architecture specialization, software architecture specialization, infrastructure and solution architecture. I think in a nutshell, that will be the courses that we offer.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for sharing so many of those enterprise architecture courses you can find on the directory.
Yes, thank you.
What about you? What kind of courses is Forward School offering on the directory?
Yeah, I'm just going to put a bit of more focus on the data science programs that we have on the directory. The first is the data science essential. So for us here at Forward School, we believe that the digital first world, at the core of it, it's really about data. And specifically, for this program that we have, Data Science Essentials, it's really about understanding the language of data. As what I've mentioned, in today's digital world, we are just swarmed with information from everywhere, from sensors, from digital images, from streaming video, satellite, even for the many of us who are using the many social media channels out there. All of these are data. So here at Forward School's Data Science Essentials, you will devise ways to sift through this mountain of data and make sense of it. It is a beginner's friendly part-time course, and you will learn to code in Python and explore the various key statistical concepts, which are really crucial if you want to be a data scientist. The next program that we have is actually what we call applied deep learning. And for applied deep learning, it's basically teaching computers to see the world like us. It's a very interesting program, and it's kind of really gaining momentum. We work very closely with the industry as well for a job guarantee for so long as you pass the exam at the end of the program. For those who are not kind of really aware, you might be asking, what is deep learning? basically at the core of deep learning is computer vision, and it's already present everywhere around us in our lives, from driving your car. I'm sure a lot of you know Tesla, to using your favorite search engine. In deep learning at Forward School, you will really learn the different advanced techniques and algorithms of deep learning specifically for computer vision, from image processing to image classification, object detection, to image segmentation, using the various industry frameworks. So what really differentiates us is also the fact that we have a module as part of the program called Capstone Project. So it's a very hands-on program. So as you learn, in the end of the day, you will be expected, we'll be guiding you to create your capstone project of your liking so that you can apply. And at the end of the program, we will run a demo day with invited guests from the industry, as well as to present job opportunities to our participants.
Thanks, Howie. Dr. Yap, I know that Iverson is offering a lot of courses on the directory. What would be, maybe again, just name one of the most popular courses that you have on the directory?
Okay, yeah, Allan. You see, Iverson is the largest training provider, and we work with all the major IT vendors, Microsoft, AWS, as I said, all these big guys. So our approach is to work with whatever that they identify as a key trend and key technology, and from basic, to the more advanced track, right? They all have their own path. So ours are generally certification courses. Just now, if you mentioned, we have a lot. Our own catalog is about 40 pages long, A4 pages. So it's a lot. Under your directory, we have 27 courses, 9 under data science focus area, 8 in cybersecurity, and 10 under software development. I just mentioned a few, under each area. For example, under data science, we have Microsoft certified data analyst associate course. We have Microsoft certified Azure data scientist. Okay, it's also data scientist course, like Howard, but ours are all tied to Microsoft Azure technology, right? And we also have analyzing data with Power BI. Again, it's under Microsoft. More general course would be like Python for data science, right? So these are 4 examples under data science. Under cybersecurity, we have mainly courses from EC Council, very well known. They are ethical hacking course. And then we also work with ISACA. ISACA is an Information System Audit and Control Association, right? ISACA has popular courses like IS Auditor, IS Information Security Manager courses. So these are under cybersecurity. Under software development, we also work with, for example, with AWS, very important partner in cloud computing. So we have developing on AWS, which is a fundamental course, for cloud computing. Microsoft Azure, also cloud, right? Then we have the Azure Developer Associate course. There's another one. And the overall framework, currently very popular last few years, is DevOps. So we have DevOps Foundations certification as well. So these are some examples of these courses that we offer. There are so many, as I said, because of our scale, right, and our scope. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yap, for sharing the list of courses that you have. I'll move on to the second question now. A lot of you are offering a lot of courses on the directory. How do you know that the courses you're offering is relevant to the digital workforce? Maybe we start with Howie.
Yeah, so for us, we work very closely with the industry. And what I mean by industry is basically the small and medium enterprises as well as the MNCs. And we pride ourselves as, really focusing on providing real in-demand employability skills. What that means is that, and we have a term for it here at Forward School, we call it employment as a norm programs. That means that whatever that we push out in terms of our programs, it will directly matches with what the industry needs. Second, obviously, in terms of our syllabus, we co-create them with seasoned industry practitioners. And most of our instructors are all in-house, and these are they continue to be practitioners even while at Forward School. And more importantly, because of the above 2 pointers that I have shared, we are kind of really able to point them to exciting global tech career pathways. Just to give you an example, for our data science program, one of the graduates, Cheah, Chee, for example, just managed to get a job as a data scientist remotely for a Silicon Valley startup company, for example. And I think it will provide, in one way or another, tremendous opportunity for her to learn. And then after that, she will be able to really contribute locally in the local companies. That's how we are thinking about it. And so, yeah, so we work very closely with the industry. I must say our syllabus are co-created with industry practitioners with the purpose of creating the next generation of tech talents. And like what I've shared previously, when it comes to data science, deep learning, we earmark and we foresee that it will be very high in demand skill sets to have. And later on, I can share more in your subsequent questions. Thank you, Allan.
Thanks, Howie. Dr. Yap, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, okay. You see our courses picked from our 40 pages long catalog, right? First of all, they fit into the overall framework that you mentioned from HRDF, the industry skills framework. That's one. Secondly, is that these are from among the best-selling courses that we have. So there is based on real demand that we have, that we know. The third point is very important. Many of our courses, the way we approach it, and MDEC will be very familiar, is that we always work with the key vendor, Microsoft, Red Hat, IBM, AWS, all this, the vendor side, and then with government body like MDEC or MOHE, and then the final is the industry or the university, right? So 3 or 4 parties are always involved. And these are carefully discussed and identified. So most of these are the key technology trends that the key vendors already identified globally. This is where they are pushing ahead for the current year, for the next year, for the next few years, for example, right? Like Microsoft talked about digital transformation 4 years ago, right? Way before all these things. And then, 2 years ago, then suddenly everybody digital transformation and so on. So we are always at the forefront of technology. And before things are rolled out, we are the first one who get all this information and we get trained ourselves. So we are very confident about, the relevance of the courses that we put out to MDEC.
Thanks, Dr. Yap. Aaron, how do you know the courses you're offering are relevant to the workforce today?
Okay, first of all, I think our courses are actually not developed by us. So all credit go into the Open Group and ISA. Okay, so I think they are they are about, now it's 15 to 30 years organization. So they develop the content actually from the version 1. So now like TOGAF already version 9 point something, then like the Archimate version 3, then even the ITABOK by ISA, Architecture Body of Knowledge, already version 3, right? So, and of course, the interesting part is that because I was involved in the early days of the course development. So all the workshop that so-called put into the so-called exercises in the class, actually through contributed by the real life so-called experience, the practical scenario, right? And all have to go through voting. Meaning is that the highest vote will go into the courses. And the courses also, every 2 years is updated. So like now, if you attend the courses, the context of digital transformation is already there. Okay, that's the first thing about the credibility. Then second one, I think in the early days of our so-called offering this training, actually we just use a word of mouth, right? We don't have marketing, we don't have sales, but people so-called get hooked, and many of them actually told me that two things, right? First is that I wish I knew these courses 10 years ago, okay, during my younger day of my career. Why, solid? I said, yes, that's the life, right? You've gone through that, and then now you have to so-called, they got official curriculum. So of course, that one can help a jumpstart. Okay? Instead of you are making 10 mistakes, maybe by attending the course, you know all the mistake, the pitfall, and then you can be productive, so that you don't waste the organization resources and etc. Right? Then of course, secondly is that many also of our students actually they get promoted after they understand the concept of architecture. Suddenly, when they go back to the office, they can see that actually they got many opportunity. I mean, in the past, right? I mean, this is actually many students feedback to me. In the past, I'm a king of complaint. Okay, you tell me I complain to my boss, I complain to the thing. Then after I attend this architecture courses, right, actually it's an opportunity. It's no longer complaining. The world is like that, right? It's designed like that. So those who knows to fix it, that's the way someone who get opportunity given to him or her, right? It's true enough that many of them also get promoted. So there's a second part. And then the third part, I think this courses also has been benchmarked by the world best lah. Because what happened is that like now, of course, we map with the MDEC, with all the so-called the framework. And of course, Singapore got the two very famous framework. They call it IBF framework and the Skill Future. Okay, that's one of the so-called comprehensive framework. So our courses also has been mapped against all the skill framework by the Singapore government. In fact, they are giving actually, I mean, nothing is separate, but just to give you encouragement, right? So if you are a Singapore PR or Singaporean, you just need to pay 10% of the courses that we offer, the SXM courses. Right? So they mean it's already, they have gone through a thorough study and of course review and the feedback from the existing student before they give so-called grant to this type of courses. So and these courses are also already in MDEC. Of course, and MDEC also has a fabulous grant, right? That you should take it up. Okay?
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah. So I guess this was for benefit of everyone listening in. All the courses are relevant to the digital workforce, and not only that, before the courses get posted onto the directory, it has been already validated and vetted by the industry experts already. So don't worry about it. Okay? Let's pause for a moment to check if there's any questions from the audience. Okay, I have one here. Which digital skills and digital courses are suitable for the accounting field looking forward? What kind of digital skills and digital courses will be suitable for accounting field looking forward? Go to the floor.
Okay, can I just add the thing? Okay, what do you intend to do? You want to be a so-called providing accounting services through a digital, or you want to move into what I call it digital accounting services? Okay, so I believe it'll be one of the just the option or both, right? Because I don't think you want to do a traditional accounting. Because if you want to do that, then you need to understand where the industry trend, right? Because now I think through the pandemic, COVID-19, then you realize that actually you can work from home, right? And of course, there must be a mechanism or platform that how can now you deliver the existing so-called consistent services that you delivered 3 years ago, but now of course everything goes through digital. Okay, so this is something that I mean the courses, of course, a few others. Like first of all, you need to understand the so-called the context, the challenges, like customer journey, right? Not sure you're familiar with the customer journey mapping. So this is where you need to understand you put yourself in the shoes of your client that engage your accounting services from you. How do they want to be served, right? So is there any platform that you can create? So that's I think the avenue of opportunity from my view that you might want to take it up, because every job now shouldn't be can be delivered without meeting face to face. And also this open up the opportunity, because I think we have a quite advantage in terms of our so-called, I wouldn't call it cheap lah, okay, but compared to the salary of other nation, right? So if you put the services into the global directory, we can beat any project because of our cost advantages. That's my view.
Thank you. Howie and Dr. Yap, anything to add? No, we'll just move on.
Yes. as a former professor, I would counsel you into 3 courses that are very relevant. First of all, for people with accounting background, I think you can start with data analysis with Power BI. Okay, that is most directly relevant to you on data analysis, and not too difficult to convert into that. A second course that is quite close to accounting would be information system audit. Okay, because accounting also associated with audit, you are already familiar with audit concept. So, but this one apply to information system, and many of the accounting systems are now based on information system. So we actually found that many IS auditors actually have accounting background. So that is a suitable one. A third one would be, following from there would be information security manager. Okay, these are highly relevant to people from the accounting field. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yap. Wise words indeed. Let's go to question number 3 for myself. Can fresh graduates and experienced hires alike benefit from the courses you are offering? Howie? Sorry, Howie, you're muted.
Yeah, most definitely, because our courses are beginner friendly. Stop short at a few. But in the end of the day, they are all very friendly to, whether you are what we call a lane changer, someone that is currently working but, would like to switch a career into tech, and as well as a fresh grad who is looking to, make better his or her degree that she has spent the last 4 years acquiring. So in terms of our programs, we do have a mix. People who want to switch careers, as well as those who have just graduated from school.
Oh, thanks. And I guess for Aaron and Dr. Yap as well, most of your courses you're offering can also benefit both fresh graduates and experience as well, right?
Yeah, I think because we have a few level of the so-called to reach to the so-called architect level. Okay, so that's why like they start the courses about the fundamental, right? Understanding the business and how do you so-called capture the stakeholder concern. So through my personal career, I got to know this in my 10 years, right? So sad, 10 years. After 10 years, then I realized, whoosh, I never covered the stakeholders. I've been covering the business user, right? So wouldn't it be wonderful if I'm a new fresh graduate from school, someone tell me, look, you need to look after your stakeholders. This is how you communicate to the stakeholders. I think that one will be a very valuable asset, right? And the knowledge, because what happened is that the courses like the architect actually, the courses that we do offer is actually taken from the real life scenario. So actually you can apply. And for those of you who are fresh graduate, you will go into that situation sooner or later. Okay, and of course today in the context of the digital, perhaps if you want to go through a certain up to medium level, right? Someone need to go through 10 years. But I think today in the context of digital, if by the time first year or second year, you have gone through all the scenario that has been presented in the training. Okay, because that's where so-called a real life knowledge and competency can be harnessed from so-called industry best practice.
Thanks, Aaron. Dr. Yap, can you share with us how would the training that Iverson is offering help in the career progression of the job seeker?
Yeah, okay. Our courses mostly, to be frank, mostly are for working professionals, right? Except a few for fresh graduate, like, analyzing data with Power BI, Python. Most of them are for working professionals. You find that in IT field, after they graduated with an IT or computer science degree, when they enter into the workforce, they will start to use products by the key vendors, like Microsoft, Cisco, Oracle, Huawei, on the hardware side, on software, on database. These are all by vendors. And our courses are vendor-based certified training. So after a little while, they'll find that they need to learn all this in a more systematic way. So if they don't come for training, all these people will only learn bits and pieces from here and there, from books, from internet, from whatever. But if they come for a structured 3 to 5 day course, they'll learn it in a very systematic and very efficient way to cover from all the basic concepts to all the hands-on actual practice. So it will really help them to acquire particular, very specific skills of a particular product in a very short time frame. And then after that, they can sit for the exam and get a certificate. And after they have a series of certificates, they may, have another title of, certified engineer and all these things. So these are very helpful for their progress, career progress. Okay, so generally that is how our courses are structured. There's a path for them to progress from fundamental to associate to expert level.
Thanks, Dr. Howie, how does the courses from Forward School help in the career progression of the job seekers?
Yeah, so like what I've mentioned before, we have very strong relationships with the industry. Right now we have around 25 hiring partners. These are companies that we partner with to link up the talents that we have to them. And so if they are looking for a change or even of an upgrade of sort, switched into the digital economy, we are here to help them make that transition. And as what I've also shared, we are very much so a school that focuses on employment as a norm programs, and we have no doubt that they would benefit if they are to build if they would wish to build a career in technology.
Thanks, Howie. Well, we got so many questions pouring in, so let's pause a while I check the messages. Okay, there's one question from the floor here. How do we train the mind to absorb digital skills? Because one of the challenges, I believe, in traditional companies is to digitalize their businesses and relevant skills. So, Aaron, you can take this. How do we train the mind to absorb digital skills?
Okay, first of all, I think we need to get the support from the senior management, right? So every time, in the organization is that if the management don't care about all this, it's very hard to move. Just put it straight, right? So first of all, the management need to get supported. Then after that, we need to create so-called a common understanding. Because when you ask 10 people about digital transformation, let me tell you, you got 10 different answers, right? So you don't want that to happen, because if that happens, they play politics. So there will be a digital gang 1, gang 2, gang 3 in the organization that, and at the end, you end up into the digital island. So first of all, I think you need to so-called preach, right? I would use the word preaching like evangelizing. What is the real digital transformation? And where are the components of so-called a framework, the governance, and then after that, of course, the technology playing a critical role. So everyone have their own slot. Don't mix it up. Right? If you mix it up, then you got rojak lah. But rojak as well must have a special taste lah. If the rojak all mix everything, the taste also don't know what sort of taste. So the digital transformation also needs so-called to be compartmentalized lah. So actually they got what they call it framework, right? So you need to understand the framework that need to govern the entire organization, how they move forward. Then they got, of course, the technology part, the T, right? The technology is important. So the technology, of course, there are two parts here. One is the technology on the platform. The other one is the vendor technology. So all playing so-called is like orchestra, The orchestra is that every instrument contribute to the so-called beautiful musical sound or etc. that we hear in the orchestra. Okay. Then the next one, you need to know also digital skill, right? So if you have the good framework, good technology, etc., but you don't care about the people, right? You don't give people the right so-called, don't equip them with the digital skill. They don't know what to do, right? Imagine that now, Allan, we play music. I don't know. Maybe just say yes, guitar. So can you join my Philharmonic Orchestra in the Twin Tower this Sunday? Aaron, I'm not that level. You can't, right? So everyone must have certain skill. That's why the employee also need to be trained, right? The next one, we need to talk about the notation, the language, right? So when you talk about something, everyone know the same meaning, because otherwise people say, hey, I thought it's like this. That's why I sign off. So everyone, they got actually 4 components. I repeat again. So you need to get the right framework, and then the technology as well, you need to define it well. And then the skill of the people need to be properly trained. That's why I think we are very fortunate. We got the MDEC at all the listing of the required skill set. And then the next one is the language, right? Digital transformation also need a language, because why? is converging all the vendor, the IT people, the strategy people, the business people, the project team people, the support people. So they need to have the common language. So that will be my
Thanks,
thought.
Aaron. Thanks. Gentlemen, we are coming to the last 10 minutes of our show, and although I have 100 over questions left on my sheet, but I think I'll try to give more time to the audience to ask more questions. So another hot question from the floor I get is this: should I focus on vendor diagnostic skills training or specific industry relevant skills? Which has actually more value? Probably is vendor agnostic skills, right?
Yeah.
Or specific industry relevant skills.
Okay, I think I can say something here. IT industry is different from other fields such as engineering, okay? The whole IT field actually is defined by the key field IT vendors. In corporate IT, the key players are, for example, like Microsoft, right? On the software side, AWS, So these people and IBM, right, at the large scale. So they define what technology is used. And when IT graduates go into organization, they are forced to use specific technology from specific vendors. So they need to learn the very specific skills so that they can be productive to the company. Okay, that is the nature of the IT industry. And that's why certification by all these vendors become very important. Yeah, it's all very, very specific and direct. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it really, sorry, Allan.
Yeah, go ahead, Howie.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the career path that you are taking. Obviously, like what Dr. Yap has shared, there are definitely needs to be very much specific to a certain vendor. But at the same time, I think there are also pros to be as platform agnostic or vendor agnostic as much as possible, so that your learning, in a sense, is much holistic to the technology as a whole, rather than specifically geared towards one vendor. But again, I think in the end of the day, it really depends on your career path. Whether are you joining an MNC, are you joining a startup, for example. I think these choices and options would then give you information in which of the training path that you are to go.
Thanks, Howie. For those of you who just joined us this evening, we're actually talking about how do I choose the right digital skills and digital courses for me and my employees. And with me, we have Aaron Tan, Chief Architect of ATD Solutions, Howie Chang, Founder and CEO of Forward School, and Dr. Yap, Managing Director of Iverson. We are towards the last 10 minutes of the show already. So we'll continue by getting another question from the floor. What courses is better, data science or data analyst? Are they the same?
Who wants to go first?
Anyone to just take this question?
I think Howie is for you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I guess in terms of data science, I think in the end of the day, it's really very key if you see yourself working with data. And now a lot of people, they are a little confused between what the data analysts do and what the data scientists do. For the data analysts, I would see it as more of a business function, and it's very closely also related, for example, like financial modeling, meaning that they will use the data to build a certain models for the very purpose of making certain business decisions, or decisions in any form that the company needs to make. But for data scientists, what they are focusing on is more on collecting the data, cleaning the data, and put them in a manner in which that it is ready for the various machine learning models to learn from. So for the data scientists, it's very much more on building the machine learning models, using the various methods out there, so that the machine can learn the data, the initial data that you put in, and that the machine can get better and better at deciphering as well as making sense of the data. So one is basically analyzing. So obviously the data analyst will at times work very closely with the data scientists, but both of these roles are quite distinct, and it depends on whether are you gearing more towards collecting, cleaning, and dealing with all these AI models or machine learning models or deep learning models, or you are more interested on making decisions based on the data that has presented itself. Thank you.
Thanks, Howie. Okay, one final question for all of you. My final question is, you've all been in the training industry for so many years. Based on your experience and insights, what advice would you give the job seekers or fresh graduates out there? Just keep it short and simple. What advice would you give the job seekers or fresh graduates out
there? Yeah, I think I can go first. A very quick one. So,
sure, Howie.
So I believe that the world is going to be eaten up by software and AI, right, and data, and because of that, we can see that there will be more and more things that will be automated. So whatever that can be automated, whatever that can be done by the machines, will be done by the machines. Whether is it through an interface or through a software or through a digital product or through a mobile apps. And with that in mind, I think it is so much more important that we also equip ourselves with human skills, with 21st century soft skills. As things are becoming more automated, our job then becomes very crucial when it comes to presenting data, when it comes to putting up a proposal for your management, when it comes to working with people. And I would say that, yes, of course, equip yourself with as many digital skills as you can, but at the same time, let us not neglect on the human skills as well. And so here in Forward School, we focus on that as well, which is why we have capstone projects where we put them in groups. They'll have to pitch. We have a demo day. Thanks, Allan.
Thanks, Howie. Aaron, over to you. Short and sweet.
Yes, I think I agree pretty much with what Howie described, right? So now, we are in the digital era, right? Because what happened is that, now I'm just talking in the context of the technology people, IT people, right? Because what happened is that many of the IT people can't really communicate well with the human. Sorry to say that, but we call it, that's why they call it nerd, right? Because we can't really talk. But actually, if you want to be successful in your career, let me tell you, you need to talk a lot of people. In fact, the job of, even the field that I'm offering, architecture, 70% actually is about human. You need to talk with the human being. You cannot just, I know that the husband and wife, right? Both are IT people. They don't talk to each other. They just WhatsApp to talk to each other at home. Ridiculous, isn't it? And we need to be able to have a human touch. We need to be able to understand the human dynamic in the context of the technology. Because what happened is that when we know that this particular technology can help our business, we need to do marketing. We need to do selling, right? Somebody will challenge you. Why you recommend this particular product? We need to be able to put ourselves in the other people's shoes in terms of the delivering value. So in short is that the human dynamic part. And secondly is about to deliver the value of your solution. If you can't do that, it's very, very tough to be successful. You still got the job, right? Doing programming or configuring a server, but you can't really go far. You want to go far, you need to be able to articulate the value of your job. Otherwise, somebody else will claim your credit.
Thanks, Aaron. Okay, yep. Your advice, please.
Okay. For fresh graduate, I think, my advice is to make sure that your fundamental knowledge about computer science is very strong. Okay, build on a very strong background. From there, then you can branch into whatever field that you are strong at, that you have interest in, be it data science, be it software programming, be it cybersecurity. but make sure that you are very strong first, because technology will, you need to pick up technology in the next few years, and then after another few years, something else will come and so on. So currently, you need to pick up all this cloud computing, data science, Azure, all these things are the current trend that will last for the next 5 to 10 years. Very, very important. Make sure that you have that strong basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yap. And thank you, gentlemen, for all the inputs. I guess we could go on and on, but I think we just have to stop here. It has been the most enlightening session for me, and I hope it has been the same for everyone in the audience as well. Before we end, please allow me to share about how you can find our directory training calendar. You could just pull out on the screen. It is pretty simple. From the MDEC website, scroll down to what's happening and look under the section of people and look for the link to the training calendar. You can also scan the QR code from the screen here to get a sampling of the August calendar. The calendar is typically updated around the middle of every month. So what you scan here is the August calendar, right? So in closing, please join me in thanking our esteemed panelists today, Mr. Aaron Tan of ADD Solutions, Howie Chang, CEO of Forward School, and Dr. Yap Chee, Managing Director of Iverson. The honor is ours. Tony Robbins once said, "It's not resources, but resourcefulness that ultimately makes the difference." If you look around today, you will see that we have many of such resources for digital talents, like the Digital Skills Training Directory, all the fantastic webinars throughout the MTM, Let's Learn Digital, our Jobs Expo, and so much more. Here's to us being more resourceful. My name is Allan from MDEC. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe. Back to you, Hasrul.
Thank you so much, Allan, and all the panel members for that interesting discussion on digital courses and upskilling. Job seekers, do visit the hashtag MyDigitalWorkforceWeek at mydigitalworkforceweek.ny, where about 5,000 jobs are available, 100 companies across industries. For more information and details are included in the comment section on the right. Thank you again. Allan, Howie, and Dr. Yap. Stay safe. Thank you. With that final session, we have concluded day 3 of a Digital Skills Week at MTM 2021. I'd like to thank all our speakers throughout the day for their ideas, insights on the digital economy amid today's unprecedented uncertainties. So we invite all our participants to come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. In the meantime, do check out our agenda for satellite events happening all around the MTM 2021 space, and also for the participants, do make use of the virtual networking lounges available. We also like to welcome, you are also welcome to reach out to the event admin if you have any form of assistance that you require. With that, we end on a high note. Thank you. This is Hasrul, your host, signing out for the day. See you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.